Hey guys, meteorologist Chris Tomer here. This is the On the Snow Before You Go forecast. Let me show you my bullet points here and what I'm expecting over time. So we've got heavy snow in Colorado 12.3 and in Utah 12.3. That means 12.4 will be a powder day for the central to northern mountains of Colorado and most of the Wasatch. And we may even have some lingering snow in some of those areas, and including the Tetons as well. So shoot for 12.4 if you want a powder day in any of those areas. Looking at the Banff area, it finally looks like we're going to get some decent snow in there. We could have a nice push of moisture, 12.5 to 12.7, really benefiting from what's happening in the Pacific Northwest with the copious amounts of atmospheric river moisture that we're seeing stream in there for quite some time, actually. In the Northeast, so snow, a nice accumulation, probably 6 to 10, 6 to 12 comes in, 12, late 12.3 and throughout 12.4 in the morning on 12.4. So powder day potentially for 12.4. I wanted to mention that. Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And then looking at the west, the next storm systems, the flow is kind of a little faster now that I'm looking at things, and we might have two different storm systems, 12.7 through 12.9, and then 12.10, 12.11. I'll show you all that coming up in my forecast. First, my spider chart, odds of best snow next 5 to 7 days. Areas in purple higher on the web. More purple represent better odds of snow, more accumulation. That's most of Colorado. That's especially the central to northern mountains of Colorado, although with that storm on 12, 7, 8, 9, even the southern mountains will get some additional snow. That's the Wasatch of Utah. That's the Tetons. That's Idaho. That's Montana this time around. It's the Pacific Northwest. It's BC and it's Banff. All those places are going to be higher this time on the web. So look to those places for odds of best snow. Let me take you over to water vapor satellite imagery and show you how this is going to play out. So we've been dealing with this rich, and it continues, this rich atmospheric river flow directly into the Pacific Northwest, and that's been bending down on a west-northwest flow, carrying all that moisture down through Utah, parts of Wyoming, and the central to northern mountains of Colorado. Well, here's the next wave already moving into the Pacific Northwest and BC, and another big storm system and wave of moisture behind it. The moisture is represented aloft here on this water vapor with whites and blues. That's your moisture. The reds and the oranges are drier air aloft, and you can see the flow is going to continue to hit those areas in this forecast period. Here is the forecast radar and satellite. So by the time we get into Monday morning at 6 a.m., keep in mind lingering snow, central to northern mountains of Colorado, Tetons, probably some areas of the Wasatch, and then it will dry up. So here's the afternoon of 12.4. A lot of that's gone. Now we look up to the Pacific Northwest and BC, and this is a significant push of atmospheric river moisture into those areas. And again, a lot of that rides over into interior BC and hits parts of Banff as well. There's 12.5 in the morning. Here is 12.5 in the afternoon, 12.6, same kind of targeting. And then here's what happens. The first storm system breaks loose, and Banff gets some additional snow. You can see the northern edge. And this is going to be heavy snow for Idaho, parts of Montana, the Tetons, and the Wasatch, 12.7. By the end of the day, still many of those areas, and it starts to make its way into Colorado, into 12.8. Still snowing in a lot of those same places. By the end of the day on 12.8, it's snowing. Still Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, and throughout Colorado. Colder air, should be mainly snow here, late on 12.8. Let me show you the jet stream configuration here. Pretty fast flow on 12.7 brings whatever's to the west directly across Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and we're seeing that. That's what's going to happen, 12.7, 8, 9. Here's the jet on 12.9. It's still pretty fast west to east. One storm system moves away. You can almost see the dip in the jet moving through the heartland. And by the time we get into 12.12, one additional storm. So this is looking way down the road. But you can see the area of low pressure dip in the jet. It's actually trying to cut itself off over California. So we got a fair amount of action down the road here. So total snow, 12.4 to 12.11. 8 to 12 for the Wasatch, 8 to 12 for the Tetons, 8 to 12 for Montana, 8 to 12 for Brundage, Schweitzer, and probably a couple of feet through the highest peaks of interior Idaho, at least, maybe even 3 feet. It's going to be pretty heavy in there. Look at Banff. The Banff area, the interior parts of BC are in good shape. 6 to 12, 6 to 12 for the Banff area as well, potentially even more around Fernie. Looking at probably 1 to 3 feet for the Pacific Northwest. Whistler to Baker to Stevens, Timberline and Bachelor. Rainier could see 5 feet. 5 feet of snow. In Colorado, 4 to 12 inches will do it. And again, what you're looking at here is potentially two different storm systems for Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming that come through and spread all of this moisture. Okay, one more stop up in the Northeast. Now, I backed it in. I started it on 12.3 because I wanted you to see how much snow is going to fall from 12.3 into 12.4. Again, 12.4 will be a powder day for Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine with potentially 6 to 10, 6 to 12 inches of snow. Snow Ridge now on the map. I added that. Tends to get a lot of lake effect up Ontario, and you could be looking at 8, 9, 10 inches of snow there across Snow Ridge. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this On the Snow Before You Go forecast. Always appreciate you tuning in here, and take care.